This is Vermont Edition. I'm Michaela Lafrac. Today we are broadcasting from the Elmore store on beautiful Lake Elmore. Why are we here? Well, today marks the official kickoff of our new monthly series, Town by Town. It's basically our version of the 251 Club. You know, that group of locals that tries to visit every town in Vermont? That's us now. So here's our version. For 1 hour each month, we'll hone in on one of Vermont's 252 towns or cities. We'll talk to residents, share local history and lore, and learn about what it's like to live there. At the end of the hour, we'll randomly select our next town using a huge spinner that we made. It kind of looks like our version of Wheel of Fortune. We actually did make this spinner. You'll be able to see it later on our Vermont Public Instagram, too. Today, we are in Elmore in Lamoille County. It had a population of 886 at the time of the last census in 2020. It contains the villages of East Elmore and Lake Elmore. And the town was granted way back in 1781 to a group of Connecticut Revolutionary War veterans and named for one member of the group, Colonel Samuel Elmore. Now, I'm sitting here at a community table in the Elmore store with an Elmore native, Tim Lindenmeyer, and his wife, Becca Lindenmeyer. Together, they operate Farm Craft Vermont in Shelburne and the Elmore store. It's a general store that just reopened at the start of July. Tim and Becca, welcome.
Thanks, Michaela.
Thank you so much.
I guess I should thank you for welcoming us to Elmore. We are looking at such a beautiful scene. Becca, I'm wondering if you could kind of just describe what we see out the window of your general store.
Sure. I would say probably one of the best views in Vermont. So the renovation project, one of the main features of it was to open the space up from the front to the back so that you would be able to enjoy the light and the water as you're walking in the door and see that whole expanse of the lake. And we're so fortunate in being able to put in some large windows, and there's 2 decks, and so you can really sit right outside and enjoy the lake on a nice day, and on a not so nice day, you can enjoy it from inside.
Mm-hmm. And the deck right now is full of folks who came out to watch our broadcast, so it's really fun being right in the hub of this community here. And Tim, this store has a really long history in the town, right? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. You know, it's been a general store from the beginning, which we kind of confirmed as we were renovating, and we were stripping everything down. We found clear span beams from side to side on the main section. And the only reason that it would be that it was a communal store, basically. And that we're guessing is around 200 years ago.
Wow.
And has been in operation since that time. So
that's so much history.
It is a lot of history, and we found a bunch of it in the walls. It was a fun project on so many levels, and a meaningful project to me personally, and I think to the community, where we had up to 30 different volunteers. We had contractors that donated tons of time and materials, and yeah, it was just it was a special change for this space, which was heralded as a very important space for Elmore, and so it was a little bit of a risk, but everybody really gathered behind and has created something I think special.
And you grew up here. Do you remember coming to this general store when you were a kid?
Yep, absolutely. As I've told the story several times, this is my pickup spot. So I'd come over and, Warren and Kathy were running the store, and I would get my little half pint of chocolate milk and my 2 pretzel rods for, I think, 50 cents and get picked up by...
Oh, I thought you meant you were picking up girls here.
No, I was still pretty young for that. And a short guy, so, so yeah, and then my mom lived here her whole adult life, and Elmore's meant so much to her, and communities meant so much to her, and that's a big part of why Becca and I, got involved.
Yeah. And when we were here, I stopped by last week to get to know you, Tim, and see the space. And while we were here, somebody came in, a regular, and he was saying, he's taking his wife to the dentist at 7 a.m. in Burlington the next day, wondering if you're going to have hot sandwiches available before they leave. And you were like, oh, sure. Well, you talked to him, knew his name, knew his wife, made sure you were going to have those sandwiches ready. It feels like
Absolutely.
having those close connections is really what makes a place like this so special.
Absolutely. And, Becca will speak a little bit to this
Yeah.
about it being a third space. And
Yeah, I think that there are so many places and so many ways to buy things now. And one thing you can't buy is that connection. And so I think the real role of the store is not to be just another place to buy a sandwich, but for you to know your neighbor's name and help them figure out what they need. And then provide that third space that allows communities to really form connections that are worth way more than the dollar price or a sandwich.
Well, we don't have our phone lines open today because we are live from the Elmore store, but you can still email us. We're wondering if maybe you visit Elmore regularly during the summer. It's a beautiful lakefront space, or perhaps you grew up here. Send us an email about your favorite spot in town or something that might surprise us about Elmore as we try to get to know it better. Vermont Edition at vermontpublic.org is our email. Becca, as you have come to spend more and more time in Elmore, what's something that surprised you about the town as you've gotten to know it?
I think my recollections of coming to visit Elmore while we would come visit Jill was that it was at least 15 degrees colder in the winter than Shelburne. And I hadn't spent as much time in the summer here, and how much of a strong summer community it is, and how so many people come to the park. And that it's part of generations and generations of family history of moments that were special. Like I remember hiking the mountain with my aunt or whatever, like that there's so many different experiences that people hold dear, and that we are at the center of that.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking to lots of folks this hour, like you, Tim, who grew up here and still have deep roots here. And I want to hear how you think the town has changed over your lifetime, or does it feel like it's about the same?
no, I was just talking to a friend about this the other day, and we remember coming down to the beach, and it was us on the beach. We could launch our windsurfer wherever. It didn't feel like there was a specific swim zone. That could be my memory, but and so it has, the lake activity has increased over the years. If you're going back 20, 30, 40 years, maybe more.
You don't need to tell us an exact number.
So I feel like, and growing up in East Elmore compared to in the village here, we weren't as connected to the lake community. So that seems like it's more vibrant, or at least I'm more connected to it and getting to know it better. And, but, it's clear to me that there's generational camps here on the lake, which makes it special, I think, and unique. And so I think there's always been a part of that, but it just wasn't super obvious to me as it is now.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit more about the store itself. As you two mentioned, it underwent a massive renovation before opening up earlier this summer. We've done a number of shows about general stores on Vermont Edition in the past, and one of the major challenges in passing a general store from one generation to the next, it seems, is that amount of infrastructure work that needs to happen to get a space safe and up to code and usable for this generation. Could you talk to us about some of those big projects, things you were surprised to find in the walls, challenges or snarls that somebody who's doing this in another town might want to know about? Becca?
Well, I think anytime you try to bring a 200-year-old building up to current code, you're in for some surprises. But we actually didn't
We
run
get some
into
real good looks from Tim during this. I know folks can't see it, but
I mean, there were clippings from the Civil War in the walls. I mean, everything from children's toys to old bottles to penny pipes to, I mean, so many different various things. There was the top of an orange crate from, remind me, who was it? It was one of the Ethan Allen.
Yeah, it was down in Florida,
relatives.
from Florida on train up here.
Up
It was
to
in
here.
the attic, so they had shipped crate of oranges at some
wow.
point.
It was from one of Ethan Allen's great grandsons or something like that. I mean, it was
Yeah.
really like, wow, I recognize that name and I want to learn more. And so I'm fascinated by history in general, but I was just so fascinated by how vibrant all of those pieces of history felt being in the space, and how important it was to us to maintain as much of the original architecture as we could, from the old floors to some of the old doors, and still put in fireproof doors and still put in modern electricity and lighting and
And ADA access.
yeah,
and
ADA access
fire
was a big
code
one.
and-
So,
Yeah.
really opening up the space, but maintaining as much of the history as we could. But the building needed a lot of love. I mean, it was 200 years old, and so there's a lot of structural engineering that went in, new structural support in the basement, all the way up every floor to the attic. So, yeah, that was sort of a heroic effort, I
Yeah,
think,
and
by
Tim,
the
you said a lot of
contractors.
people volunteered their time too.
Yeah, it seemed like there was always at least 30 people that, when I needed to call on, whether it was, clean out in the beginning for getting debris out of the building, or whether it was painting or cleaning, or, things that we felt comfortable having volunteers do, versus the contractors. It was, I sent out an email one day and they'd be showing up the
Yeah.
next, and it was pretty unique and pretty special.
That's really special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think the thing that's really unusual is that this isn't just a couple of individual entrepreneurs. This is the Elmore Community Trust really forging a new path in collaboration. And you're going to talk to Blair after us, who's
Yep, the president of the Elmore Community Trust.
Yeah. And so it's I think of another example of a general store in Vermont finding ways to engage the community, to preserve and protect a third space, a place that's really at the heart of the community.
Yeah. And you have a lot of folks working here now, too. I hear you had a bunch of high schoolers working here over the summer. You gave them the chance to have their first jobs. And you two, it sounds like, have been working some crazy hours. Tim, have you, do you guys sleep? How you doing?
there's a few rules that we follow, which is
Okay.
to eat and sleep as much as possible, and
Seems
drink
like
water.
a low bar, but sure.
And honestly, we don't do that. We find way too many nights at 8 o'clock. What are we going to eat? I don't know. I think there's some pizza in the cooler.
I didn't
boy.
say eat well. I just said we have to eat. So
Well, I think
it's
most
been-
general stores are a big lift historically because single operators work from sun up until sundown.
Yeah.
And part of our goal is to get the new model launched and but really try to wean it off of that so that it is more of a community supported operation.
Yeah.
We were tossing around all kinds of different models, but ideally it would be some form of nonprofit member
employee
owned,
there's
something
lots of
like we
different
haven't gotten
variables.
too far down that road yet, but I think the idea is that it needs to be supported by the community in a way that is sustainable
Yeah.
and not at the risk of somebody burning out,
Yeah.
which is what happens with most general stores.
Well, we can feel that community support here today. We have lots of folks from Elmore and the surrounding region here to watch the show and to support the two of you and this business. And we're so thankful for letting us come in here with all of our equipment and our Vermont public staff and get to see your space.
Well, it's so much fun. I grew up without a television, and public radio was our lifeline to the world. And for a homestead out in the middle of nowhere, it's really important to me.
Yeah, and I can second that. Mom was like, I'm living here alone with my two boys. I'm going to have the radio on all the time. People will think that there's a lot of people around.
still
There's
on all
always VPR. So I grew up listening to it too, whether it was the stories or the shows. It's always had a spot in our heart for sure.
Yeah, well, the love is mutual. Tim and Becca Lindenmeyer, thank you so much again.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
All right, coming up, we're going to chat with the president of the Elmore Community Trust. As we switch headphones around, I'll let you know if you're just tuning in that we are broadcasting live today from the Elmore store right on the shores of Lake Elmore. It's part of our Town by Town series where we try over the course of, it's probably going to be like 2 decades, to visit every town and city in Vermont. All right, we have Blair Marvin with us with the Community Trust. Blair, welcome.
Yeah, hi, thank you so much.
Now, Blair, you wear many hats. You also co-own Elmore Mountain Bread, New American Stone Mills, yeah? And you all also had a much beloved pizza restaurant, or pizza, what do you call it, manufacturing business here as well.
Yeah, we were really lucky. My friend Jimmy Kalp and I ran Fire Tower Pizza out of the back of the Elmore store with Warren and Kathy for many years, and it was an amazing project,
Yeah.
a special thing to be part of.
So the trust played a key role in keeping this store open and helping with this massive renovation that we were just talking about with Tim and Becca. Why is this store so important to you?
Oh, man. Like you mentioned, I've owned a business here in town with my husband for 20 years, and we're a wholesale bakery, and the Elmore store was basically the place where our home space for the bread to sell. And so I go working with Warren and Kathy and building Fire Tower and just had this really close relationship. And, I raised my son here and he went to the Elmore school. And so this store in the town was so important to me. And through the conversations with Warren and Kathy and thinking about the future of the store, it's kind of steered the foundation of the Community Trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of folks really see this space, as Becca was describing it, as that third space where, if you're not at home, you're not at your job or school, you can be here and reconnect with people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I grew up in Vermont, and knowing the importance of these spaces and having a safe place for our kids to come after school or to grab your mail or have, meet with somebody for a coffee or just to, connect with people is vital. And as we see these spaces disappear, it's really important and a focus for us to be able to support the work and the vision that Tim and Becca have of keeping this a space for the community and accessible for all people and to keep our small town vibrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Johnson, right?
yep.
Right down the road from where we are in Elmore. When you think about the town of Elmore, other than the general store, what are some of the hallmarks of life here? If you were describing it to somebody who lives in a different part of our region and has never gotten to be here before.
Oh, man. I personally, it has everything I could possibly want, so I can come to the store, I can see friends and neighbors, I can hike, there's the lake, it's beautiful, everybody, knows each other, living out at the end of a dirt road, our neighborhood is the best, and so
Why? What's so great about it? Because I think my neighborhood's the best.
What's the best about my neighborhood? Oh, just every month we all get together and have, neighborhood suppers, and that's replicated throughout the town. I know that happens everywhere, but this is small kids all over the place, and it's super safe and a nice place, just an incredible group of people.
Yeah. Well, as a co-owner of Elmore Mountain Bread, I feel like you are a really good person to invite to a community supper. Can you tell us a little bit about your businesses, Elmore Mountain Bread and New American Stone Mills? I mean, you all are making mills so that you can prepare flour to use in the bread that you're baking and selling right here at the store. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So it's a small wood-fired bakery. Like I mentioned, we've been here for 20 years. And about 10 years ago, we were feeling a bit stale and stagnant in our work and really kind of wanted to think about the next step or what we could do to make our product better. And the natural progression for us was to be able to figure out how to source and use all Vermont grain purchased directly from local farms. And in order to do that, we needed a mill because there was no small regional mills in our area. And so we set out to design and build our own mill with the purpose of purchasing wheat directly from farmers. And as we know, our farms need all the support and diversity that they can get. And by developing this machine to be able to purchase the grains from them, we would be able to support them and create that economic advantage for them. So we built this mill, and 5 years ago reached our goal of being able to use 100% farmed grains purchased directly from the farmers. And it's really amazing to see how it's been replicated. Now there's many farms around Vermont and many, many food producers who are, purchasing these grains and supporting our local agricultural system.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the specific grains? As a very novice bread baker myself, I love a big bag of King Arthur flour, but like, what's different about what you all are using?
Well, the grains that we use are specific for bread baking, sourdough bread baking, and so we work really closely with University of Vermont, Heather Darby there, and with the farmers to figure out what grows well for the farms, works well for the bakers, and what tastes great for our customers. And so that kind of dialogue and connectivity really helps create a new vernacular around this piece of our food system.
Yeah. Okay. So you're so deeply rooted here in Elmore and Lamoille County, but I know you did live on the other side of the country for a while in Washington State. What did you miss most about this area when you were living somewhere else? Because I think it's something a lot of Vermonters do. They're here, they leave, and they're like, no, I want to be back.
And come back. Yeah, my family is all here. I missed being near my family. Washington was very similar to Vermont in a lot of ways, but I was never able to find the same community here. I was really excited and most curious about local food systems, and Vermont is, we're very special in that sense. And it was the draw to be able to raise my family here and to just be back in this place. I honestly, though, I never thought I would move back to Vermont when I left.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
And now I will never leave.
You were ready
So,
to
yeah.
get a little break?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So as we get ready for our next break here, I am. Again, we're sitting in the Elmore store, and I've been watching as we do this show, folks making food and coffee, and I'm smelling all of these good smells. What is your favorite food item to buy when you walk into the Elmore store? I know you're a supplier, but something else.
I really am a big fan of buying the fruit that comes in every season from Wolcott. That's a big one. What else do I purchase here? Man, it's amazing. There's so many new things here now. They're carrying Long Winter Farm Produce, which is really exciting, which is a beautiful little farm in Moscow, Vermont. It's been nice to see that. They have an amazing selection of cheeses now, too, which is great. Bread is my staple food. The cheese is a natural
companion.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, now I'm officially hungry. Blair Marvin is the president of the Elmore Community Trust. Blair, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's been really fun. All right,
Yeah.
We are broadcasting live from the Elmore store here as part of our Town by Town series. We're trying to get to know every single Vermont municipality in depth, and there's lots more to learn about Elmore. We're about to talk to one of the members of a very exclusive and posh local group. Just kidding. They are delightful. They're called the Ladies of the Lake. That's going to be in just 1 minute. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Vermont Edition. I'm Michaela Lefrak. We are broadcasting live today from the Elmore store, a general store on the banks of Lake Elmore in Lamoille County. We have lots of folks who have joined us from the community for this live broadcast, including a big crowd who's out on the patio right now. There they are. We have overflown the general store, overgrown it. It's a beautiful day right now. It's sunny. We are looking out at the lake, which is glistening. It's a perfect day to be here in Elmore. This is part of our new monthly series called Town by Town, where Vermont Edition tries to visit every single town and city in the Green Mountain State. There's 252 of them, so it's going to take a while. If you used to live in Elmore, or you still do, or maybe you've just passed through on your travels around Vermont, you can can email us. Tell us something that might surprise us about the town or your favorite spot here. Our email is vermontedition@vermontpublic.org. Peter writes, the Elmore store is my favorite rest stop when skiing the Catamount Trail. The trail crosses the south shore of Elmore Mountain. By the time we get to the store, we are tired and hungry and eager to buy hot chocolate and snacks. The owners let us sit on the enclosed back porch so we could warm up before heading out again. Well, we are joined now by a member of Elmore's Select Board, as well as the Lake Elmore Association, and a group that I desperately want to be invited to join called the Ladies of the Lake. Sharon Fortune, welcome.
Thank you, Michaela.
It's such an honor to be here. You have your ladies are here
My
watching the
cheering
show.
section is on the deck.
I love it. You came with a whole posse. Tell us about Ladies of the Lake.
So the Ladies of the Lake were delighted when the Elmore store reopened under our new wonderful renovation project. We come every Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock, and we have coffee and breakfast items, and we just hang out. We are with each other in order to catch up on the news that abounds our community and just to spend time together. So it's great. Not all of us live on the lake. The primary contingent of the Ladies of the Lake do live on the lake, but others of us live, a bit away from the lake that we overlook the lake.
Do you think there's any sort of divide, contentious or not, between folks who live on the lake and folks who do not?
I don't think there is, although the people on the lake pay so much more money in taxes because of the fact that they live on the lake. So there is an economic frisson, if you will, a little bit, because it's just the way it is. It's the reality of property taxation in Vermont.
So how long have you lived in Elmore?
Forever. 43 years.
43 years.
My husband and I were married 43 years ago, and he bought, before I married him, a hovel of a farmhouse. It was really the bride of Frankenstein's home. It was horrible, horrible. And we've renovated and rebuilt the whole thing. He has really done the lion's share of all that work.
Wow.
So it's great. We've lived here 43 years.
Where did you move here from?
I moved here actually I grew up in Richmond, and then I lived in Morrisville for a short while. But before that, I lived in Philadelphia or New Jersey for a couple of years, long enough to know that I couldn't wait to hightail it back to Vermont.
So you've lived in Philly and New Jersey, which are known for their pizza, but I know we have some great pizza on offer here as well. Can
Yes,
it compete?
we do. Yes, we do. And I have had it, and it is delicious. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so there are not a ton of people who live in Elmore, fewer than 1,000. Do you
Right.
feel like, having lived here 43 years, do you know most people by face and name? Or are you still getting to know folks?
I'm still getting to know people, and the litmus test is when we have town meeting, because there are always people who come to town meeting whom I don't really know at all, and they're newcomers, or they're people maybe who haven't become involved, in the workings of the town. It is a small place, and for the most part, we do know everyone. Everyone knows everyone, which is quite lovely.
Yeah. What's town meeting like? Are there any special traditions?
Well, there are. We actually serve a lunch, the Fire Department Auxiliary, of which I'm a member. We serve the luncheon at town meeting, after town meeting, or in the midst of it. Yeah, it's just that, John Gailmore ran our town meeting for a long time, and various other ones prior to that. And, it's just a community-oriented event. People are able to ask questions, they're able to speak. It's true democracy.
Yeah. How's the feed? Is it good?
Yes, it's fine. Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
Yeah. I would love to talk with you a little bit about the natural landscape of Elmore, since you are on the Lake Elmore Association, which tries to conserve the lake and the surrounding natural environment. I mean, there's Elmore Mountain. There's lots of hardwood trees around here, which the region's known for. What kind of conservation work are you all focused on as part of the Lake Elmore Association?
Well, it's primarily keeping the milfoil at bay. And it's not as though we're ever really going to eradicate it completely, because it is an invasive species. But we have come up with a good plan for for fundraising, and we write grants to obtain funding as well.
And first, can you tell us what milfoil is?
Yes, milfoil is this horrible, plant that infects the lake, and it grows. If a little piece of it is broken off, and it will reseed itself and flourish. So it's really pervasive. It's not. It's a plant that robs the bottom of the lake and the lake water itself of nutrients. It's not a healthy plant at all.
So what can you do about it?
Well, you pull it out.
Oh.
We hire divers. We have professional divers who come, and they work for 2 or 3 weeks in the summer, and they don their equipment and they dive down and they carefully pull that milfoil out. Because over time, we've tried different things with the Lake Association in terms of trying to eradicate the milfoil. And truly, it's so pervasive and so resilient that it's hard to get a handle on it. But we have it at bay. We have it at bay at this point.
Okay, and that's thanks to the work of the association.
Of the Lake Association, yes. And the Lake Association has been around for a long time, since the 80s, really. I think 80s or 90s. And so there have been various members who have done a lot of work on the Lake Association to make it a viable organization.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, we're getting lots of folks writing in with their favorite things about Elmore. You can write in as well by emailing vermontedition@vermontpublic.org. We got a list from someone named Molly with 14 things that make Elmore special. I'm not going to read all of them right now, but here's some of the highlights. Climbing the fire tower. The Pie Social. What is the Pie Social?
The Pie Social is the culminating event after a summer of events that the Lake Association sponsors. And it's really kind of an antiquated event, really, if you will. People bring a pie or they bring some kind of dessert, and it's the final event at the end of August. And we all share in the desserts and have community time to talk and just be with each other. And that's the final event.
Do you welcome outsiders? Can I come?
We do. You can come,
Great.
absolutely. My kids who live in Boston really look forward to the Pie Social, and the grandchildren have a contest among themselves as to how many different kinds of dessert they can put on their plate and gobble up during the Pie Social.
That's a dangerous game to play. I've played that game.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to this list from Molly of some of her favorite things about Elmore. The state park, where there are paddle boat and kayak rentals and guided tours into the marsh. There's also a baby loon that they often see in the summers riding on mom or dad's back. And then there's also bingo in the summer months, charming with Joe as the MC. Do you know Joe?
I know Joe well, yes. Joe Chicola has been our MC for bingo for many years, and bingo is a victory of its own success, really, if you will. We have had to turn people away from our sessions of bingo this summer because we can only accommodate 100 people in the town hall. We only have that many chairs to seat. And people come from all over because they love bingo. It's family bingo. So it's a little campy, we sing songs, we clap, we cheer each other on, and it's great. It's just a fun night.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
We also got an email from Stanley who writes, my dad, Reverend Melvin McGoffey, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, was the pastor of the Elmore Methodist Church from 1949 to 1955. I recall attending summer services at the church, vacation Bible school, having time at the beach, and group hikes up Elmore Mountain. For me as an adolescent and in that time, Lake Elmore was exciting, a place for family picnics, swimming, and seeing people from other areas of the state who were there vacationing. Sounds like such a special place to live,
It is
Sharon.
a special place. We love it here, and we love the community. It's wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you so much for chatting with us and for telling us about your work with the Lake Association and the Ladies of the Lake. Thank you, Sharon.
You're
Fortune.
welcome, Michaela. Thank you so much.
And we were just talking about the health of Lake Elmore. I do want to alert everyone that when we went swimming here last week, our engineer lost a size 13 croc in the mud of the lake. So if anyone finds a camo and blaze orange croc, size 13, contact Phil. All right, we are joined next by a member of the Elmore Community Trust and a volunteer firefighter named Trevor Braun. Trevor, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks.
I know that you walked into this store just expecting to maybe buy something or watch the show, and now you are on the radio, so thank you. We tend to do that sometimes when we show up at a place.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so you grew up here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How has the town changed?
I think it's changed in a few ways, but what makes it special is just all the people that are here and how they get along and support each other, and that hasn't changed much. I think you can see it right now with everybody standing around watching you.
Yes, we have a full crowd here at the Elmore store, both on the patio and in the store itself. Have you lived other places besides Elmore?
Yeah, I lived in Massachusetts and went to school in a couple places. And I mean, when you're growing up here in a small rural town, everybody thinks like, oh, I can't wait to get out of here. I'm going to go to bigger, better places. And then you go to bigger, better places, and you start to really miss Elmore. It's really nice here.
Yeah.
It's a great place to be, and I think a lot of people do that. They move away and then kind of want to come back to raise a family or settle down.
Yeah, we've been hearing that. And I imagine that folks might be listening and saying, hey, yeah, Elmore sounds great, but my town is great too. Well, just a reminder that we are trying to visit every town and city in Vermont as part of our Town by Town series. And in a little bit at the end of the hour, we're going to be picking the next town where we're going using our giant, magical, colorful spinning wheel that we've created. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Trevor, you work with the fire department. You got your bright red suspenders on right now.
Yep.
You're ready to go.
Dumb mustache.
You got your part of the uniform. Why did you join?
Well, they were just a bunch of old guys that were on the department at the time, and I felt really guilty. I was pretty young, and I looked at these guys that had been doing this for decades, and they had bad knees and bad hips. Sharon's husband is actually our chief, so I won't get too deep into his medical health. But they'd been putting a lot of time in, and I was a young guy, and I didn't have any good reason to not do it. And I don't particularly like hanging out with people, so I was anxious about committing to being with a group of guys every week for a couple of hours for training and meetings. But it's a pretty low-key group of guys, and Elmore's a really quiet town, so we don't have a lot of disastrous calls or anything.
Yeah. What's the weirdest call you've gotten?
I'd say the woman who wanted to get rid of a bird's nest sort of in the eave of her porch, so she lit a firecracker off and put it in the nest.
Oh, no.
And it went downhill from there. And she got rid of the birds, but she almost took out her house at the same time.
All right, ma'am, if you are listening, email Vermont Edition at vermontpublic.org. Tell us what you were thinking there. What are some of the other kinds of calls that you get?
It's a lot of car accidents that we have around here. It's kind of a busy highway. And CO calls, fire alarms. We don't have too many structure fires. It's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
I think grill fires is a somewhat frequent one.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. This might be a little in the weeds here, but I mean, we're in a pretty rural place, and sometimes I wonder, do you have trouble getting a big red fire truck to where it needs to be to put out a fire?
We have special fire trucks. When we got a recent one, it was designed so it can navigate some of the narrow, steep roads. So it has a lot of power, but it's also very short and also holds a lot of water. If there is a fire, there may not be a lot of other trucks that can get up there, so it has to hold a lot of water so we can do what we can.
Yeah. Oh, that's so smart. Okay, now I know. This is such a beautiful area. I mean, we see somebody out on a kayak right now. There are great places to hike and swim and walk around. What is your favorite way to spend time outdoors when you're in Elmore?
Processing firewood. I mean, I don't really like. I kind of live in the woods, and I have to hike up to my cabin every day anyway. So I don't do a lot of hiking.
It's built in.
Yeah, I just do it every day anyway. I do like to ski on Elmore in the morning before work. That's really nice to be able. I keep my skis and gear at the fire station, so I can drive over there, get my skis on, hike up the mountain, and then ski down before I go to work in the morning.
Oh, that sounds like
It's
such
pretty
a
cool.
peaceful way to start your day. What's the view from the fire tower like?
It's great. It's often cloudy in the morning, so it's just. I mean, I really like being in the trees, so the view isn't necessarily what I'm looking for up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Trevor Braun with the Elmore Community Trust and a firefighter here in town. Thanks so much for chatting with
Thank you.
us today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
All right, we have to take a short break, but when we come back, we are going to hear from other residents of the town of Elmore, and we're going to pick our next town in our Town by Town series. It could be yours, so don't go anywhere. This is Vermont Edition. Welcome back to Vermont Edition. I'm Michaela Lafrac. We are broadcasting live today from the Elmore store, a general store in the town of Elmore in Lamoille County. We have a crowd here with us watching from the store and outside on the porch. We feel so lucky to be here in Elmore. This show is part of our new monthly series called Town by Town, where we try to visit every single town and city in the state. Elmore was granted back in 1781, and today it's a small town, fewer than 1,000 people. It has a gorgeous lake, a one-room schoolhouse, and a recently refurbished and reopened general store. I want to learn more about this schoolhouse, and that's why I'm so excited to talk to our next guest, Faith Boudreau. She moved to Elmore in 1992 to be a teacher at this schoolhouse. Faith, welcome.
Thank you.
So bring us back to 1992. Why did you apply for this job to work at this little picturesque but little schoolhouse in Elmore?
I was teaching in southern Vermont at a K-12 school, Whitingham School, and actually loved my position. I was teaching second grade. I'd had experience with a few other early elementary grades. But I was finding that I was spending a lot of time in meetings, and I was being pushed more and more into administrative duties, and I really, really wanted to focus on teaching. And that's what I found at Elmore. Elmore was the perfect place. The Elmore School is a very special place, and I'm so pleased that we still have worked hard in this town to keep it open.
What's it like?
I'm not currently the teacher. I'm currently the librarian there only. And right now we have grades 1 through 3. Mm-hmm. Our students start kindergarten in the nearby town of Morrisville, and then when they finish at the Elmore School, they go back to Morrisville, so they already have friends there. And when I was teaching, I had grades 1 through 4, and suddenly time became my friend instead of my enemy in school, because I could really make the schedule and the day meet the needs of the kids, and I could really focus on individual kids. And because I worked with the children for 4 years, I worked with their families for 4 years. And sometimes if you had siblings, you would work with families for many more years than that. And you really could build relationships. You could hit the ground running in the summer. You had no lost time. And there really was a lot of trust that could be developed between the teacher and the family. And Elmore is a really special place. I mean, you've heard it from other people, but people are always willing to jump in and help. And that was the case when I was the teacher at the Elmore School. I would have a need for a bookcase or something for physical education, and suddenly it would be there. We solved almost all problems just within the community. It was pretty neat. And there was a lot of interest from not just parents of students that I had, but it really felt like the entire community supported us. I remember one time we were renovating the playground, and we needed to move these huge beams, and the job needed to be done immediately, and I had no one on the playground, and I obviously couldn't do it myself.
Yeah.
And so I came across the street to the Elmore store, and 2 old guys who were just hanging out with Warren said, I could help you. And they came over and helped me. And that really happened again and again and again. And so it feels very much like a community school.
Right. And you, so you came here in 1992, and that's when you also met your husband, right? I hear you have a lovely meet cute. Can you tell us? I love a good love story.
Yes. So Warren Miller, who was the past owner with Kathy of the Elmore store, was also the chairman of the school board. So he technically had hired me to be the teacher. And I also had Kelly, their child, in the Elmore school at the time. She was starting school as a first grader, and we really, we were having a wonderful time. And really early in this year, I think it was September or October, Warren talked to my soon-to-be husband, who had been a friend of Warren's from high school. And he said, Michael, you really should go over and meet the new teacher. She's single, and I don't think she'll be single for long. And his ulterior motive is he really, really wanted me to stay in Elmore. And so he knew that if I married Michael, who was already established in Elmore, that I would stay. And so I worked at the school long hours, and so it was an evening, and one night when I was there alone, there was a knock on the door, the front door, which the kids never used. They used the ramp door. And so I went over and opened it up, and I actually thought he was a parent to one of my that's why I let him in. And he came in with some maple syrup, and he said, I'm your welcome committee to Elmore.
Aww.
And the rest is history.
Oh.
We were married the following year.
Oh, that's so sweet. And now you have
I have 4 children.
4 kids.
Yes, and I had decided that I would focus on my family, so I stopped teaching. But then it became apparent to me that the children in Elmore went to kindergarten in Morrisville, but they didn't really establish a town identity. And so I started doing an Elmore story hour with kids who were preschool aged. And so all of my kids and the kids in this group, and we did it for probably 10 to 12 years, met each other and formed friendships before they went to the Elmore school. So that was pretty special. And then at about, several years into my parenting, I became the town librarian, the school librarian. And so I still do that once a week. I'm the librarian for the Elmore school. And then it became apparent to me that I had lots of kids who were interested in volunteering and doing more. So we started having a community service group. And that involves kids from elementary school through high school. And the group kind of comes and goes depending on schedules and who can do it. But we do a variety of different things. We have provided food for the Lamoille Community House. We've planted daffodils and picked them in the spring and brought them to a local rest home. We have made meals for people who had surgery in town and they might have needed a little pickup.
Yeah.
Cookies for the food shelf, just a variety of things like that.
Yeah.
And what I really have found is that every single time I ask one of our young people for something, they say yes. So for the Elmore Fire Department puts on a community supper, a harvest dinner in the first week in October, Saturday. And recently we needed to have some kids help us serve and clear tables. And so I'm telling you, whoever I reach out to for high school, those are high school kids, they always say yes and they come, and it's just really, and that's been my experience every time I've asked somebody to help.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody has each other's back here, it sounds like. Now, you have 4 children. I wonder what your conversations are like with them when you talk to them about growing up here and whether they want to stay. We've talked a lot about people who move away and then move back to Vermont.
My youngest daughter, I think, is still deciding, but my older 3 would really like to stay in Vermont.
Yeah.
But it's totally true. It's hard as a young adult to find a place and make a living that can sustain you.
Right.
So that's the challenge.
Yeah, yeah. When you think about Elmore 10, 15 years in the future, what do you hope for the town?
I hope that we still have the engagement that we have now. I hope that we still have a sense of what it means to be part of Elmore. I hope that we have children for whom going to the Elmore School is a special opportunity, and that we continue to engage with each other and with our community.
Yeah.
Because we are what makes Elmore.
Yeah. We've talked a lot about some of the special places in Elmore, from the general store to the fire tower to the state park and the one-room schoolhouse. What haven't we mentioned? Where are some other, I don't know, secret spots or places that you love to be when you're staying home in town?
Well, Blair mentioned it earlier. We have lots of neighborhoods. For being such a small town, we have lots of neighborhoods. And I actually know the neighborhood that Blair lives in, and it's been a family-oriented, wonderful place for as long as I can remember. We are lucky enough to live in a breathtakingly beautiful place.
Yeah.
And I think that what makes Elmore people special is we appreciate the fact that we live in a beautiful place and that people really work together, as Sharon told you earlier, to keep it that way. And that's what the Community Trust is trying to do too.
Yeah. We, as we've mentioned, have lots of folks here from town here watching the show. And I was asking Sharon earlier if she feels like she knows everybody in town at this point, or if there's still new faces that crop up and new people to get to know. As somebody who's been here for decades yourself, how do you feel about that? Are you still getting to know new people?
Yeah, of course you are. I actually said to somebody today, I'm Faith, by the way, and I don't think I know your name, even though I feel like we've talked before, but we never actually officially met each other. And I'm lucky enough to still be working with the children of Elmore, so that means that I have the opportunity to connect with families. So I have a big span of people that I know. But yes, there are always new people, and it's always fun to get to know new people.
Yeah. And Faith, you and your husband own the Elmore Sugar House, which we haven't talked about yet. This is a business that he bought from its longtime owners back in the late 80s. How has that business changed over the decades that it's been in your family?
A lot.
Yeah?
It's always been a challenge. It continues to be a challenge, but it's really wonderful that we have something that our family can work together with. My son now is joining my husband in running the business, and it's just, with any small businesses, there's always challenges that come hand in hand with them.
Yeah. Do you think it'll stay in the family for
I
a
hope
while?
so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
As long as climate change lets us keep making maple syrup.
Yeah. Have you noticed a change?
Oh,
in
the
that
seasons
sense?
have totally changed.
Yeah.
Yes, but sugaring seasons are, every single one is unique. So you can't really make predictions based on anything. There are probably wiser people that know more than I, but I just.
I mean, you all are on the ground seeing it happen,
go with the
seeing
flow.
the change.
Right, no pun intended, but you have to go with the flow.
Yeah. Well, we're about to hit not sugaring season, but foliage season. I can't imagine what this mountain is going to look like in just a couple weeks when the leaves change over from green to gold
Right,
and
they're
red.
starting.
They're starting. You could just start to see it there.
Yeah.
It must be a beautiful place for fall. What our listener Molly, who wrote in with lots of different things she loves about Elmore, also mentioned something called the Tractor Parade, and I wanted to be sure I asked somebody about it because I've not heard of this. What is the Tractor Parade?
It happens on Father's Day, and we had a wonderful, wonderful member of our community who passed away unexpectedly, and tractors were his passion. And in order to honor his memory, they created a tractor parade so people can take any kind of tractor they want, and they line up and parade through town. So it's really sweet.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
very sweet.
Well, it's been so fun learning about all of these special traditions in Elmore. I'm sure there's many more that we haven't even touched on. But Faith, we have something to try out with you before the end of the hour. It's time to select our next stop in Vermont Edition's Town by Town series. It's been so fun being here in Elmore, but of course we cannot stay. The town we pick is going to be the subject of a full hour of radio, just like the one you just heard, though we might not go to the town. We'll see what we can do. We'll certainly visit ahead of the show. We'll learn about town history, talk to locals, and get a sense of what life is really like in that slice of Vermont. So, okay, we have a big wheel, fortune-style wheel over here with each Vermont county on it in a different color. On the back of each slice is the name of every town in that county. So we're asking Elmore's Sarah Dunn, hi Sarah, to spin the wheel. We'll let you do it now. Go for it.
This is so exciting.
I know. All right, that was a good spin, Sarah. It's still going. Okay. And we have one spin again slice too, but I don't think it's going to be that. It's slowing down. We're staying in Lamoille County. All right. There you go. Thank you, Sarah. And now we are going to bring over this card, and I'm going to have you pick a number 1 through 10, but don't pick 7 because that was Elmore.
Okay.
All right. What's it going to be?
8.
8. Belvedere.
Ooh.
All right, the town of Belvedere. We were very excited to learn about it. Thank you so much. We can also, if you want to see this wheel, it's pretty great. So we're gonna have that on our Instagram very soon. And if you have any hot leads on something interesting about the past or the present of our next town, Belvedere, you can email us at vermontedition@vermontpublic.org. All right, I think that's all the time that we have, but I want to squeeze out one more minute with you, Faith. Thinking about this school that's across the street and how much history is embedded in it, I'm wondering if you could just close your eyes and think back to one of your favorite moments in that school to leave us with, all the time that you spent with kids there. What comes to mind?
We had a wonderful, wonderful restaurant that we opened in the school, and we invited parents, and I was trying to teach money skills to the kids, so we used real coins and real money. We had a menu. The kids prepared the food. They acted as servers and cashiers, and the families jumped into it wholeheartedly, and it was so much fun. And we learned something about coins.
Faith Boudreau, thank you so much for telling us about your slice of Elmore today.
Thank you.
All right, that is all the time that we have. If you want to see photos from today's taping or video of our big spinning wheel over Vermont counties, you can check out Vermont Public's Instagram account at Vermont Public. Today's show was directed by Aaliyah Papes and engineered by the wonderful Phil Edfers and Peter Angish. We had event support from Michelle Owens. John Aarons is our managing producer. Andrea Lorian and Daniela Fierro are our producers. Our theme music is by Myra Flynn. I'm Michaela Lafrac. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to everybody in Elmore who came to watch this show. We'll catch up again soon.